Welcome one and all to a K5 Haulamania, and I've got loads of stuff to show you today. I'm going to start off with the Serious Tat. Yes, here it is. These are all no revs. Found them all at a local charity shop. I'm going to start with the worst first and end up with the best. Okay, so this is the worst one. You can see it's got some serious damage. But we can see, actually, we're witnessing here some very good no-rev work. Unfortunately, it's got a lot of issues, though. I picked up all these 4 cars for £1. There's bits missing and all sorts. I wasn't really looking at the car so much as the base. And as you can see, it's a metal base, no-rev, from 2008. Renault Toys, which is wonderful, really. Absolutely wonderful pieces. So that's a Renault Megane. They call it the Macane in France, of course. Very nice. And we have here another Renault. These are Renault Clio police vehicles. Now, to me, they look like they should have had glass in the back, but they actually have a lifting tailgate, which is cool. Go around the vehicle. Obviously, it's got a missing light bar on the top there, and that's the same for both of these vehicles, unfortunately. Again, we've got 2007 on the base plate. It's got built-in suspension, very similar to that of the Majorettes range. Very nice, actually. Police Nationale, of course, these are the guys that police the motorways in France. If you've ever been out there racing off to Disneyland or trekking off to Germany or the south coast, you will have seen these vehicles on the roadside. And probably the actually only one which is in good condition and comparable to a Majorette probably is this nice little Renault Twingo. Fantastic details all round, of course. This one looks to me, it's a rather large scale, so it's probably around about 154, 155 scale. 2008 base on there, Twingo. But lovely, lovely condition. And this one's ripe for some pictures, I'm sure, at some point. It's the only one with a bit of life. With the Tat, I found a bunch of Matchbox Superfast, and here they all are. Beautiful colours. So these are all kind of ranging from 1970 right through to 1973. Let's start off with these two first. Right, as you can see, they're both basically the same car. It's the Lotus Europa, which is the Lesney number 5, and both of them in pretty good shape. Few problems with the blue one, of course, but we'll see those as we go around the vehicle. Identical bases, except for the pink one slightly later. The 1973 model actually has the thicker wheels. As you can see there, they were designed because these thin wheels, well, on the tracks and in play value, they started to bend and twist, and it was felt that the thicker wheels gave the car more stability. I often think that the skinny wheels make the car a bit faster, but they do make it more delicate. Okay, so we'll start with the blue one. Now this was brought into the range in 1969, it says there, well, probably about 1970, late 69, when the Superfast range was first thought of. Obviously replaced the vehicle that came before it. You can see inside there lots of lovely detail. And unfortunately this one has got an issue with the doors. The spring, yeah, the spring has come loose and it's caused all sorts of issues inside, and the door won't close properly. What a shame, but it's a lovely colour. One of my favourite blues, that one. It's kind of a midnight blue. And this one here in what can only be described as fuchsia pink. Again, exactly the same vehicle, but in very good working order. This is the first number 5s that I've ever found in the wild. I found these actually at a street market in Kettering, and very pleased with these. Very pleased indeed. But this is in very good condition given its age and the way it's been stored. And finally, oh yes, don't forget the Porsche. Oh yes, now I've been after one of these for probably as long as I've been collecting Superfast for. Again, this one has seen a little bit of action. It's got the later 73 wheels on there. It's got a 1970 designation date. I'm not sure, I'm probably certain that it would have come out with these wider wheels, and that's a number 68. But overall, except for this little bent axle here, which I'm having issues trying to fix, it's really just bent just on the last notch there of the axle. But lovely, lovely piece. Look at the sheen on that. The gold flake in the paint is just to die for. Absolutely splendid. And it's a shame that we haven't got better paint on the flanks there, because it really would pick it out beautifully. Absolutely lovely piece. Of course, the big old flat rear end there. And I'm not sure if this was a Le Mans winner or a predecessor to the Le Mans winner, but certainly would have taken part in Le Mans racing from probably about 1967 onwards, or thereabouts. Who knows? I'll have to do a little bit more research on this piece, but very nice nonetheless. And finally, I found a Lamborghini Miura in pretty good shape, and an early Superfast piece from around about 1970, 69, 70. And this is a transition piece. Would have originally been released in yellow with little tired wheels on there, little yellow hubcaps with little plastic tyres on. I particularly like the Superfast release of this. I mean, standing alone, it looks like a very good representation of an actual Miura until you get to the rear end, and it's got a very deeply scalloped little boot there, and a very interesting rear end, like a very early 60s style back end here. Okay, and I thought I'd just bring along the more recent release from Matchbox just to compare them. So as you can see, a lot of the details have been accentuated, but a nice detail for the Matchbox Superfast is the addition of that slightly rounded rooftop. Now, is that accurate or not? Now, luckily, my friend Kozi Toguchi sent me this piece. This is a Kyosho 1/64 scale Lamborghini Miura, and Kyosho famous for their accuracy. Let's have a look and see how it compares to the old Superfast. It's almost like the Superfast was taken from drawings and adapted to the castings available. And of course, there's the rear end, and the Matchbox is all over the place. Still looks fine, but yeah, it's not exactly perfect. The front end though, very good, very nicely scooped down. But if we have a quick look at the modern piece, much better from Matchbox. Very good indeed. And neither of them have a bubbly roof. Bubbly. Very similar, exactly the same at the rear end as it goes. There we go.
Well, good day to you all, and here's my little section as Mr. Ravon. So, got a mixture of stuff here. Going to try and go through it reasonably quickly without too much waffle, which is going to be hard for me. Already started. Right, stop. Anyway, so really it's a selection of old and new, so you can see it all here, look, in front of your very eyes. I think what I'll do is I'll work from the front to the back. So starting with some stuff that I got from a chap on a Matchbox forum on Facebook, which I've since departed, but anyway, enough of that. This was a chap called Phil West, who, thank you very much, Phil. He had some wonderful stuff that he was selling off at, quite frankly, quite amazing prices. And the first one is I'm going to cover is this one. Now, this is a treasure. You might think, well, no, it's not, Mark. It's absolutely knackered. What's so treacherous about that? It's even got a broken window. Well, some of you may recognise this. This is produced by Matchbox, and no, my hands haven't shrunk. This is a king-size Matchbox, and it dates from 1969, and it is, as you can see, a Dodge Charger. And it's probably a 1968 Dodge Charger, because obviously in the time that it takes to produce from design stage to production, you probably lose about a year. So this was almost certainly based on a 68 Dodge Charger, the famous Coke bottle shape, and one that most people will think to do with General Lee and the Dukes of Hazzard, but I think that was a slightly later version, probably a 70. But anyway, waffle. This one has opening doors. And it also has, I think, something was referred to as true glide steering, or whatever Matchbox called it. So as you can see, the front wheels will turn, and I'll show you how that works in a second. So you can see there's a detail on the bottom of it. 1969 copyright on it. This was only around for a very short period of time, because at the time this was getting released, Hot Wheels came in on the scene and the requirement for low friction wheels, and this was turned into a dragster about a year or two later. So not around for long, and only ever appeared in this metallic blue colour. I think originally it was supposed to come out in a red, but they decided against it for whatever reason. Extremely nice model. As far as I'm concerned, this is about the height of what Leslie were doing before it all went horribly wrong, chasing around, trying to beat the guys at Mattel, which I think, you know, in retrospect was a bit silly, but they had to remain competitive. So I'm going to show you what this is like inside, because I drilled it out. You see the two rivets posts here and here. I drilled those out because I am going to restore it or refurbish it, or speed it up. There we go. Right, that's the inside. This is the steering system, and you can see it's a piece of polythene plastic there. An incredibly complicated but effective system that is still working 48 years later, 49 years later, goodness me. Good quality materials, and on the back here a piece of tempered steel, which was certainly, when you think about the mid to late 80s, that's what Matchbox were doing with the suspension systems. It was a piece of tempered steel, but quite early on, so quite complex really. Remember this, I don't know how much this is selling for at the time, equivalent, but not overly expensive. Two-piece wheels, so you've got a rubber tyre and you've got a plastic hub. Not much really to report about this. The interior is pretty sort of bog standard, but I'm going to have to do some work on this. Anyway, there was enough time on that one, way too much time. Anyway, let's go through it quickly here, beautifully timed. When I received this, we were just receiving the famous beast from the east, the snow that came in on the British Isles and gave us a hard time. It's all gone now as I'm filming this. Literally went within the last 48 hours. Gritter truck. It's a Ford D model cab unit from 1966, I believe. Very clever. You loaded it up with, you know, sand or sugar or grit or whatever, and then you open this little slider here, beautifully engineered, and it would roll out through this little chute onto the ground, and you could push it along and it would leave a deposit behind it. I tried that the other day, put some sugar inside it, and it just dumped loads of sugar over my work desk, which made me look even more stupid than I did playing with a toy car on my desk. Anyway, that's that one. Beautiful little model. Here's a quick one. Saab Sonnet. Superfast from 1975 or 3. What is that? It's a 3. Strange model in terms of its styling, in terms of the colour treatments, because we've got a piece of light blue plastic here. The interior comes through here for this bonnet vent. I don't know why they bothered with that, but it breaks up the design. Saab Sonnet. I think it's a Saab Sonnet 3 actually. They did 3 Sonnets. Saab. Not really quite sure about the details to recount it, but it was a little sort of sports program that they had going for a while. I may restore this one. I have got another one actually that I got from this deal from Mr. West. This is a Xylmex. Never had a Xylmex. Probably last time I had one when I was 6 or so in 1975. Goodness me. Always considered to be extremely cheap copies of stuff that was being produced by Lesney. But I think this stuff has a charm about it, and as the years go on, we all see Matchbox and Corgi, but do you see many Xylmex? Not really. Chinese, well, Hong Kong manufacturer. It's not even telling you what type of Rolls Royce it is. I'm sure that someone could tell me, but I'm not an expert, but it's a two-door. Could be a Corniche, I don't know, but there you go. It's seen better days. I believe there was a black sticker on the roof there to imitate a vinyl roof. Extremely sort of cheap but effective way of doing it. Crude, but it is more interesting because they're quite rare. So there you go, that's that one. Here we go, another one. This is a Corgi. It's a Formula 1 racer, so it's a generic design. Difficult for them to try and keep up with Formula 1 cars at that time because they were changing just as much as they are these days. This was done for Weetabix, as you can see, the British breakfast cereal, for those who are from foreign climes. This was done as a commission to Weetabix. You used to send off the box tops to the cereals, and they would send you a Corgi vehicle, and this was one. Of them. They also did a truck, which I have got. I might go and grab that in a second. So yes, this was been around about 1976, 77, so a few years ago now. Interesting curio piece again. You know, it's not realistic, but it's fun. There's that, and this here I bought at a market in Greenwich, and not Greenwich Village, New York, but Greenwich in southeast London. My wife was running a half marathon there this weekend, so I was hanging around waiting for her to complete the course, and popped in, and I got this for £1 on a market stall, which is surprising because Greenwich Market now has got a bit posh. So luckily the chap wasn't too posh. Nice piece. This is GTX, the open top version of the Ford GT from the early 2000s. Not the original one. There was an open top GT40, but I think it was literally a one-off. So, don't know why they're chromium plated the inside. I really don't. You know, you got the engine, but it was hardly worth it. And it runs through to the what would be the rear lights. Crazy. Don't know why. Anyway, there's that. Here we go. A Morris Minor. Now, it's not a Morris Minor because it is a Morris Minor, but it's not. It says MG Rover, which is a lazy way of Mattel just simply clearing the licensing issue, so they just called it that rather than what it is, which is an incredibly distorted gasser version of a Morris Minor Traveller. Us Brits of a certain age will know about that. Nice piece, only so much as little details of the Hot Wheels logo moulded in the back of the plastic, so that black section there is plastic and this front section here is metal. Again, £1 from the man at Greenwich Market. That one. And now, this last one from Phil's. No, it's not the last one, there's one over there. This is a Corgi mobile caravan called a Wigwam. Wigwam van. Sounds like a start to a 1970s glam rocks song. Wigwam, bam, man, thank you, ma'am. Shut up, Mark. This is interesting so much as the fact it's completely off the wall. There's a door there, you see it come out onto your little veranda piece there, or at the back here. Now there is a chap I'd seen on social media who actually customised this and turned it into a hearse, which is a bit strange. I'm going to show you some old Jeeps. Now this is the old original Matchbox Superfast Jeep. Came out around about 73 along with a load of other military stuff. So what's this, 1976, so yeah, slightly later. Yeah, Matchbox had a bit of a fad with military gear post fluorescent period from 73. So post 75 we start to see a lot more military stuff being introduced, and this would have come with a like an anti-tank gun on the back sticking over the top of the windshield there. This is actually quite a nice little piece, fairly accurate for what it is. Of course, running on
And of course running on super fast, so it's all cool. But I do have some more Jeeps, some modern stuff. I'm just going to run through them with you. I picked this one up some time ago. It's a 152 scale, and it's from there, look, 2009. So this is a fairly early release of this piece. Also, this piece here, this is from a 10 pack I got from Kyosho Fan a long time ago. Very nice. You can just compare with the old and the new. Yeah, the new Matchbox one just looks that little much more exciting, although I do like the lamps on the old one. Another nice feature on these more recent Matchbox pieces are the painted in windscreen frames. Of course, all individually tampoed up as well. This one says Anaconda Guide. There's obviously some sort of tour of the Amazon. Whereas this piece here just looks like a military vehicle from some kind of desert operation. Of course, the old Jeep, very expensive to look after in the wild, the real thing. Some people say it's the Ferrari of military vehicles, given that they were made in Chrysler and Ford, both produced them during the Second World War. Right, I've got a nice little 3-pack here I picked up just before Christmas. Let's have a look inside it. Right, this one's got a couple of nice desert vehicles in there, and it's got our Jeep. We'll quickly run through these. This is the International Scout, I believe. It doesn't say on the bottom there. 164. Yeah, right. But that's quite nice. Got the American or the United Nations or whatever it is symbols on the side. Cool piece. Fits it nicely with our brackets. This kind of commando scout vehicle. Anyone out there with your special forces would know this vehicle. Usually runs with a big machine gun on the back, the big 50 cal on the back there, or a guided missile or something like that. This one's called the Sahara Sweeper. There is green versions of this out there somewhere, and I thought I had one, but I don't. So there we go. This is the M team as opposed to the A team. That was a quite good assortment of supplies and utensils on board there. Plenty of room for a couple of crew members down front and a spotter gunner at the back there. The reason why I'm opening this one up right now is because it's got the black Jeep. Very, very cool. Military Police X team as opposed to the M team. Wonder what team this International comes from. Probably says it on the side, doesn't it? Oh, this is from the M team as well. M-Team, M-Team, and finally the X-Team. Wow, that is awesome. Very nice in black, funnily enough. This one's lacking the transferred decals on the windscreen there, which is a shame, as it would look rather nice. Just adds to the overall look of the vehicle, I think, when they give you that extra bit of styling. And finally, from Thomas himself, oh yes, I've got a green one, the 1943 Jeep Willys from the Jeep series, anniversary series. There we go. This is from 2016 nonetheless. Let's have a look inside. These things were ridiculously priced, but they were available in Europe, something that doesn't happen too often. And there we go. And this one here, this is a premium, well, fairly premium piece from that period, sporting some nice paint actually, giving us our 1943, well, it's actually 1944 style American circle on there. They used it during the D-Day landings, I believe. That's a particular marking. And not dissimilar from the black version in the fact that it's now lacking this decaled windscreen. But yeah, very cool graphics, very reminiscent of those heady days of World War II. Of course, they used to hang all sorts of bits and bobs on their Jeeps, didn't they? So there we go, there's a bit of a variation on the Jeep. Going to finish up with this Blockade Buster. Oh yes, in blonde. I only appear to have one of these in this colour, so it's a bit of a variation. It's also available in a black as well. I do not have any black ones. I sent all those off to Germany to make up a black squad for my friend Thomas. And here's the Blockade Buster. Lovely little old bit of rotation on there. Nice body unit there. Lots and lots of fabulous detail, and very reminiscent, of course, of the old Bradley. Kind of wish they'd kept the Bradley. It's one of my favourite pieces. But nonetheless, this is not bad at all. It goes quite nice with the Sandy crew. Also have this old green one, just to compare some details, see if we're any different on the transfers. Yeah, look, totally different tampos. In fact, they've spent a bit more time, it looks like, on the paint. The paint looks just slightly more detailed. Oh, it is, definitely. They've tampoed up the X's on the boxes on the side. Different stars. Wow. Plus, the only bit of metal on this model is the main body of the vehicle, the top deck. Everything between the turret and the tracks is metal. Fantastical. Yeah, I've still got a couple more market finds to show you, and one of them is this Porsche, Sekou Porsche, for £1. Oh yes. I will be opening it up, of course, but I am planning also to do the Sekou Shorties videos. But I'm hoping to do that in better weather, because at the moment it's just rain, 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 and it will not go away. So That's a very nice little Porsche 911. I believe it's the same casting as the ones that I already have, but it's in a lovely livery. That silver is just popping. Look at that. And finally today I have something completely different to show you. I've been showing you stuff that I've found from my local shop. I found this one at the market. Yeah, it cost me £5. It originally cost somebody 99 cents from KB Toys. And it's going to be obviously quite interesting for you guys in America. I don't know if there's such thing as KB Toys still now. There's a lovely picture on the back there of some kids playing with their track system. There we go. So this is dating from 1996, this model. So it's pre the Matchbox join up. So this would have been a very nice model back then. Obviously it's not a first release or anything like that, but it is a very nice model of the Thunder Roller. And I do not have any Thunder Rollers in my collection. So I think I'm going to have to open this one up and have a look inside. So here we go, up the top here. Oh, where do we go? Yeah, it's not a blue card. It's just a slightly later card, obviously. Oh, here we go. This is fantastic. I've never ever held one of these before. Of course, it's been released in loads of special series. Oh, and the first thing that hits you is the weight of it. When you just... Hang on, I need to have a sniff. Oh, 22 years of being locked away. It doesn't really smell of anything in particular. But the first thing that hits you is that amazing metallic red. What a shame it hasn't got a hole in the back there. I can't stick a little load on the back there. Big twin stacks on the back. Someone's fingerprint on the side. It's definitely not mine. That was already on there. So that's an old fingerprint there. But I expect that worker's probably long retired now. Wow, big old black wheels on the back. Look at the shine on that. Beautiful. Nice printing. Let's have a look. So this is a casting from '82, made in China. And they still made Matchbox Hot Wheels in China. Loads of fingerprints all over it. But isn't that just amazing? You can see why the Hot Wheelers go wild for these old castings. Absolutely amazing. Plenty of cab space. I think that wasn't Optimus Prime something like this at some point. Look, it's amazing. It's literally only just come out of the box and it's got damage. Again, just amplifying the fact that you should get your cars out and enjoy them. But that is just monumental. Look at it. It's the beast. There's a whole. You could have a whole family back here. And I suppose that truckers in the day probably did stick a family in the back of their truck. Wow, still rolls fresh. Of course, this one's got a plastic base, but nonetheless, absolutely marvellous. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta for now.